especially right now with like our current iteration of the FTC, like there isn't really any like antitrust that is going into these mergers, right? So
fair point.
There is not a major media sale. That does not just lead to, again, less real jobs, more competition or the same amount of competition, and like a type of economic model around film that is about let's make the best films possible.
Yep.
And that is how we make money and compete.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Kinolime cast. I decided to just remove pod because it's not really a podcast. It's like a hybrid. I don't even know what do you call it, right?
Like, we're just talking
at
work.
It's all it is. We're just talking while being recorded at work. I'm John Shrem, head of development here at Kinolime. We got Danny Murray, creative executive, one of the finest in the biz. What's up?
My God.
What's up, dude? How you doing?
So colorful. Thank you. I'm, because of what we're talking about today, I'm quite sad.
Okay. Yeah, and we're just getting right into it because I tend not to stick my head into like the business side of Hollywood, just something I'm not that interested in. But you always seem to be like on the cutting edge. You know what's going on. And
as you could tell by my hair and age, I am a savvy financial analyst. So
I do actually like going over the box office numbers each week. But besides that, I don't know. I woke up today. I saw something about 1,000 restructuring jobs from somebody over at Paramount, and then we just were like talking about Warner Brothers sale. So we're gonna get into. And by the way, I know nothing about this. So what is going on in Hollywood right now with the sale? Is it Warner Brothers? Like, just I know nothing. So educate me.
Yeah. So I mean, the most basic kind of point of what is consuming Hollywood finance right now is that Warner Brothers announced that they were exploring a sale.
All right, I just want to stop you there.
Yeah.
Why?
Okay.
Warner Brothers, arguably the most prestigious studio around, is selling.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, essentially, the story of it is over the last 20 or so years, Warner Brothers has been sold and merged a handful of times, which has essentially saddled the studio with billions of dollars of debt. The simple answer is that David Zaslav is looking to find a way to pay off that debt, make the company, which, a few years ago had like a $30 share price. Earlier this year is down to like $10 a sale. They're burning money.
This is the same studio that has been crushing the box office this year.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, don't they have all the number ones this year, right?
Yeah, but because of like, really pretty horrible mergers that have very little to do with the movie business. And to be fair, box office numbers that were lackluster before kind of like Abdi and DeLuca took hold, and like, their auteur kind of vision for the studio is paying off immensely. The studio side had been burning money, and the immense amount of debt that corporate consolidation and like these mergers had left, Warner with, has kind of forced them into a sale if their main objective, which Zaslav's is to like give what is primarily AT&T, I think they still own like 70% of the shares of Warner, a massive return on, their shares.
So par for the course for Wall Street.
They are looking to maximize shareholder value at the expense of the studio.
And I guess it's fair to think of Warner Brothers not just as the movie-making entity. Warner Brothers is a name that has many sub-companies underneath it. That's not just only entertainment adjacent, but it's not just like the movie studio Warner Brothers. That's just a name of a part that makes movies, but there's so much other money-making revenue streams.
Yeah, there's billions of dollars of real estate. There's theme park assets. There is the big issue is what the studio is looking to do is right now they're trying to make all their assets lucrative enough where they could essentially spin off the profitable, sexy assets for a buyer, which is streaming, it's HBO, and it is the studio assets, which are killing it. They're trying to spin that off into a separate company and then spin the assets they don't really want, which is like cable television and all of their debt, into a separate company to make a sale more lucrative for a potential buyer.
So why do we care? Why should we care?
We care because, again, it's less massive as Warner, but it was still, it crippled the entire Hollywood ecosystem, which is like 20th Century Fox getting bought out, what was that, like 10, 15 years ago? There aren't a lot of major studios, and every time we lose one, Warner being the biggest and brightest, right? We get less movies, we get less competition.
Right there.
And the entire landscape of Hollywood gets worse.
So it feels like my dystopian, writer mind is thinking, wow, creatively this is very bleak, because at the end of the day, when you read the great, go read, if anyone hasn't read, go read On Memo by David O. Selznick. And it just gets you into the mind of a studio head, a small independent studio head at the time, but loved making movies, wanted to make films, and they were caring about profit, but it was really about the art and making the best fucking movies out there. Just seems like we're not there as much anymore on that side if we're just solely thinking of ROI and profitability.
Yeah,
so artistically that's scary to think if we can only a few people have the the purse strings and the marionette strings, that's just we're gonna make average movies that just people just see on streaming or whatever, and there's no real swings anymore.
Yeah, look, like a guy like Zaslav, right, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, he is a guy that, again, is he much of a movie guy? No, he's like a Wall Street guy, and at this point almost all the studios are run by either Wall Street guys or tech speculators. So, but he relishes in the idea that he is like an heir to Jack Warner. He sits in his desk. He bought a house that was owned previously by a major studio guy. He loves the idea that he's this red carpet, I'm a big movie pioneer. However, the way he runs the studio is such that, again, he is looking out, and again, he's the CEO of the company. It makes sense. But he is looking to get, if he sells the company, he's going to get a $500 million payday. And essentially his only real goal right now is to find a way to consolidate and sell the company, which will, for the way he kind of masquerades himself, kind of destroy that legacy. So
why does this bum you out? Is it because of the artistic deprivation that could happen going forward? Why are you bummed about it?
Yeah,
because you seemed also bummed about the Paramount thing that was happening a few months ago.
Well, in general, right, especially right now with our current iteration of the FTC, there isn't really any antitrust that is going into these mergers, right? So
fair point.
There is not a major media sale. That does not just lead to, again, less real jobs, more competition or the same amount of competition, and a type of economic model around film that is about let's make the best films possible.
Yep.
And that is how we make money and compete. What we are seeing with all these mergers is essentially just market share consolidation, so that there's less films, less options, less real jobs. And again, I think something a lot of people tend to forget about being able to have a career in the arts is that is a very new concept.
Yeah.
In the grand scope of, the world of art, you have a patron and you have an artist. Mm-hmm. And unless you have a very wealthy patron, you live on the street.
Yeah.
You there was no world where, especially in an art form that requires so many people, there's never a time where all those people, get to have great lives if they're great at their craft and work.
Yeah.
And the more consolidation we have, the more vertical integration, the less likely that is to continue at the scale that we all love and, have kind of relied upon to be artists.
So that's a doom and gloom scenario. What is, in your opinion, what would be the fix? Obviously we're not going to stop corporate greed. And again, think of their job. Their job is to turn a profit, appease the shareholders, et cetera, et cetera. So that's never going to go away. what is the fix? Is it more government intervention on these sales, mergers, like, but then that brings in government, like what?
Well, you want government intervention, like that's the whole point of like the FTC, right? Is to make sure that there is competition, right? You need antitrust. We've seen what Hollywood looks like without antitrust 100 years ago, and it essentially led to laws that stopped the monopolization of media companies. I mean, already like. We should have broken up these companies 30 years ago, right?
Like the banks, let them fail, right? Back in 20.
Well, forget even the banks. Like,
by the point of view, you're too big to fail.
We have a couple companies. Like, there's no reason like the film studio Warner, right, should like own major news stations, and like the entire media landscape is owned top down by like three to four companies.
Yeah. So why is
That's
that?
Not good.
Why is that? How is that why is that happening?
I mean, that's happened because like we don't have lawmakers that, take like the actual media landscape more seriously than corporate lobbyists.
Corporate law, yeah.
That's why.
That's it right there. I think my armchair quarterback. Is it armchair quarterback? What's the term? Armchair. Armchair something. Tom, was it armchair what?
Quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah, armchair quarterback. Like it just seems like no one's thinking of film, movie, television, etc. as like a real area to concentrate on with breaking up monopolies. But meanwhile, it influences thought, culture, zeitgeist.
And it's not just films; it's the news.
No, it's the news
too,
channels, which is also pretty bonkers.
And the papers, and yeah.
So all right, so we have an impending sale. Who's buying what? Tell me what's going on.
So look, it seems to be that Warner's plan right now. And again, they've done a pretty good job. Like their stock is almost up to like the all-time high, right? Like I think it was the all-time high of like $30 a share. The most recent bid we know of is that the Ellisons, who just bought Paramount, put in like a $24 bid. That's like 2.5 times.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
So the Ellisons, who currently own Paramount,
just acquired Paramount,
can buy Warner Brothers.
And unfortunately.
That's okay.
They have this guy's dad is the second richest man in the history of the world.
But wait, that's possible?
The FTC. So look.
That's crazy.
In order to complete a sale, right? It has to go through the FTC. In this iteration of the federal government, that means the FTC will do what Trump says. The FTC chair. So like, it is essentially going to be up to Donald Trump to approve. Sale.
That's crazy.
The Ellisons, like all of the five, at least like I have kind of a list of like four that we know, and then there's a fifth, the worst possible option.
Let's go to the worst one.
Do you actually want to know? Like to me, there's two. So like the absolute worst option is that.
So the highest is Ellison's.
Unfortunately, I think the best scenario, and they're saying that they're going to commit to keeping the same amount of film production out of Warner. It's not like, the odds of that are extremely low.
We know politicians or people say anything to get elected or
they are looking to get the sale through.
So
that wouldn't happen.
He's the highest. Their group is the highest right now.
The best option is that they spin off cable and they somehow retain the studio and like function independently. I don't think that's going to happen.
Give me the worst case scenario.
The worst case scenario is that the Saudis come in with a $200 billion bid backed by Jared Kushner. And
Kush? Kush is involved?
Well, Jared Kushner is involved with like a whole bunch of different Saudi Arabian business dealings. I truly believe, I believe he's on the board of A24. I truly believe the worst option is that the Saudi Arabians come in with like, the Saudi Arabian, government pretty much come in with an offer that is so mind-boggling. And because like Kushner's attached and they probably,
they can't say no.
Give Trump the same amount of money and his crypto thing that's just like backpedaling, like insider trade.
All right, let's not go down the path.
But sure, but that is the reality of it.
So that is.
So the Saudis buy him, they just put $1 billion into a studio in Saudi Arabia. That is the worst option.
Why is that the worst? Just quickly go down.
Because an authoritarian government that owns slaves would purchase the biggest movie studio in America to like offshore, and like essentially it would be like the federal government and the Saudi Arabian government in control of the world's premier studio. That is not good.
And there's no oversight that can block that?
There is. It's the FTC. The FTC okay. is not independent. In this government, there is no independent FTC oversight. So okay. that there is no. He
said it, folks.
I mean, it's not like kidding. It's not even a political stance.
No,
like,
I know.
That's just the facts. The second worst option is Netflix. Netflix would buy them just to like retain market share. We'd probably look at Warner weaning off of theatrical release.
I was gonna say you have like 3 theatrical releases a year under that if they were the.
Yeah, and like they would mostly be doing that again just to eat up a competitor. And
what's the best option? Give me like the pie in the sky.
So like one last kind of thought here is that like Warner has like 17% of like all the major motion picture licensing for Hollywood movies ever. Netflix just eats them for market share and like a bigger library. That's terrible. The best option is like they spin off cable and retain independence as a studio. So
that's your best scenario, which is the unlikeliest.
I hope not. The most likely option is that the Ellisons buy Warner, which again is probably in terms of reality, like the other buyers. I don't think Apple's going to buy. Netflix might buy. Amazon might buy. They already ate up MGM.
I could see the Bezos coming in for some reason on his yacht, just trying to make a shiny new bid for a new company.
There aren't that many. Again, there's no.
And there's not many chances for studios that come along like that to be available. So and then last question. Let's say this impending sale happens to whoever. What is that domino effect like, in your opinion, throughout the marketplace? Around Hollywood.
Less buyers, less movies in theaters, and probably just leads to more potential sales. Like I don't even know, again, like how many legacy studios do we have left? Like Universal.
I was going to say Universal.
Paramount just got sold. And then it would be like what? Like HBO, Paramax, Skydance? Like what? Yeah. Like, again, you see what I mean? Like essentially the best case scenario is honestly that Warner retains independence or they get sold. And then, dear God, hopefully in the next like decade, the FTC comes in with antitrust laws that rain hell and like rip these like monster behemoths apart.
I want like an MLB style Hollywood system where you have like 26 studios and they all want to bury each other. You know what I mean? Like how fun would that be? Like I miss the old days of the golden age of Hollywood, where they like literally wanted to bury the next studio. They were trying to steal artists from each other, and it was all about making the best movie. It was competition. It was like, let's make the best movies to bury, the asshole down the block,
100%.
Down the street. And now we don't have that. It's like, it's kind of like the modern NBA, super teams all wanting to play together. No one really wants to like, it's not about anymore the craft or the sport. It's really just about ROI and et cetera. So.
And let's not forget, I think like what's really sad is that like the current film heads of the studio at Warner, they took a massive gamble, an auteur driven, like make the biggest studio in the world auteur driven, give money to the world's best filmmakers, do whatever they want. And it worked. No one thought it would work.
Oh my gosh,
it's totally
it worked.
Working.
Give it to filmmakers who love film? What a novel idea.
And essentially the big issue with that is anytime there is one of these major acquisition studios come under new leadership, like there's going to be, like a cultural change in like how that studio is run. So like we just saw a model that I think every film fan in the world has been dying for, right? Why aren't people giving, Ryan Coogler $100 million to go have fun and make a crazy vampire horror movie? And it worked, right? Give PTA as much money as he wants. It's it's going to win every Oscar. Like, I'm very sad that I think no matter what, unless Warner retains independence, that's probably gone.
I honestly think that just Trump should own them all. And
I mean, great idea.
I wanted Tom
let's
to
do
zoom
it.
in on his Danny's pulsating vein in his forehead when he gets upset. But no, I know, dude. It's look, we always don't want to bring grim news here, but this is what's going on. It's good to educate yourselves on where this is going. I'm like really intrigued now. Like I'm gonna go research everything and follow this.
Now, I think like the the shining hope of this for me is that with all of this, corporate and media consolidation of all these studios is, again, I think what it might lead to, I hope, is a kind of independent film scene.
Yeah.
That there's such a lack of competition with the studios. There's so few films being, released that are worth anything.
Yeah.
That there's a groundswell of independent film support that, again, we're not going to get competition from the studios with all these mergers. Maybe we kind of build our own competition, distribution, and, kind of like production vessels out. And again, we've seen a massive, massive increase in interest in independent film.
Well, not to like plug the people who pay our salaries and the space that we're in, but that's exactly why we're building Kinolime out, is like audience driven. Our ambition is to be like a mini major, right? Like a studio that just does independent cinema all day, every day, which is what we're doing, which is why we have the competitions for y'all to vote, aside from the projects that we produce and invest in on the side. But yeah, it just seems like that's the natural path for, because again, I just see there's a demand for movies. We did a podcast however long ago about why streaming needs films, because it drives their user retention rate or whatever we said back then. But people want movies, and if the studios are only going to do X amount per year, especially theatrically, where do you go? And hopefully it's Kinolime and all the other companies that would pop up, and then we can have like our own MOB of like independent cinema.
Speaking of MOB, I actually just had a thought. So like, I didn't bring this up, but in terms of potential buyers, there's something I'm really hoping for. And that thing I'm hoping for is that whether it be like, a massively wealthy super billionaire or some sort of like, massive kind of like private, not private equity, but like VC firm or something, I'm hoping that there's a spoiler buyer that comes in, maybe Guggenheim.
Guggenheim and I'm a huge Met fan. Cohen, let's team up. Coast to coast.
Bring that same mentality to that they have in sports, which is I don't give a single about how much money I'm spending. Yeah. We are going to make the best product imaginable.
I love it.
And
let's do that.
Let's build a studio that is, again, maybe all about a great place for creatives to be, and built on the idea that maybe if we have the best product, we will win as a studio.
Guggenheim, Cohen, we know you're watching.
Come on.
Write that check.
Save
us. Save the system. Save Hollywood. Cinema, save cinema, please. But Danny, thank you for doing all the research on that, because I really did not want to read all those articles. But you've educated me and and everyone here for like the last 15 minutes on your rant. So
I love rambling without.
You do. So keep posted. And if you want to change cinema, keep watching. Keep supporting Kinolime, because we have another competition coming up soon. So get your screenplays ready. You can help change the system, cinema, career paths, whatever.
Yeah, and
maybe we'll get bought out one day by Zaslav, and we'll be hypocrites.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love that. I love the FTC. I love corporate consolidation if I get a payday. So let's do that, guys.
Well, hit us up. Let us know what you think about what's going on in Hollywood. If you like it, you don't like it, what you do differently. Hit us up at all our media outlets and social media platforms. On Kinolime, all things Kinolime. But Danny, thanks so much. John Schramm, see ya.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was the best sign off yet.
Thanks.